Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing this super spoopy carved skull Halloween look. So without further ado, I start by cleansing my face completely, making sure that there are no oils on it, just so that way everything that I put on it can stick and have a nice clean surface. And I start by taking a white eyeliner and sketching out the placement of where I'm going to be putting the scar wax. So I am outlining and creating basically like what the edges are going to be. So of course the eyes are not going to be like perfect circles, they're going to be more of like these asymmetrical type square pieces, and then the nose, I make sure to go all the way out to the outer edge of the nose, otherwise it'll look a little bit funny, and then I draw two lines up just to kind of show the hollowed out nose, because your nose is mostly cartilage, not a bone, so it is technically hollow on a skull. And then I am carving out or outlining the temples, and my dumb self didn't realize that my camera stopped recording when I drew on the teeth. And so my best advice, since I'm not the best at the teeth, is to draw just a bunch of squiggly U shapes on the top and bottom, and then I outlined them on the outsides to kind of create a hollowed out mouth. And then I start taking the scar wax, and my scar wax was about maybe 3 or 4 years old, so you know, really expired, and I decided to use it anyways, and it definitely proved to give me a lot of trouble. It didn't blend very well, but it's the effort that counts. So I always recommend using either some Vaseline or some lotion when working with scar wax, otherwise it will just stick to your hands and it will not stick to the face. So I found that rolling it up into like those little like the little cylindrical shapes and then smoothing them out with my fingertips worked the best, but I do go in with the spatula to kind of help smooth out certain areas that my fingers couldn't quite get because my nails did get in the way at certain parts. But again, just make sure you're using some like Vaseline or some lotion just to help smooth those edges into your skin, because the goal is to get it as flat as possible. But you'll see at the end that mine is nowhere near perfect. I am not a special effects makeup artist, so this could have turned out 100 times better. But again, we were working with really crappy expired scar wax. Not that it's crappy originally, just that I was using scar wax that was expired, so I don't recommend that. But here you can see, again, I'm just taking little cylindrical shapes of scar wax and blending the outer edge so that way it creates kind of like a lip, and that way it looks like the skin has been like carved out. And I just continue this process along all of the edges that I have drawn, and going back and forth between my fingers and the spatula to help blend it into the skin. And just so you guys know, this process took quite some time. Let's just say I originally had like 2.5 hours of footage, so that's about how long it took me to do this makeup. Scar wax is not easy to work with. I definitely recommend, if you have like a liquid latex, to try that with some cotton. It may be easier to work with. I just did not have any, but now I'm taking the MAC chroma cakes, and these are in the black, and basic red, and I'm mixing them together to create a little bit of a deeper red, and then I'll occasionally go in with just the red and just the black just to kind of make the color uneven, just like how underneath the skin would be. It's not going to be a perfect red, and the black just adds depth. We're not looking for any solid black color, just something to kind of break up that red color. Now I'm filling in the teeth, and I'm using mainly black with just a smidge of red mixed into it because I want the teeth to be a lot darker than the surrounding color. And so I'm just taking this Ben Nye little paintbrush and coloring them in. And once I get to like the bottom of the tooth or like the top of the tooth, depending whether you're working on the top or bottom set, I kind of trail off the color, almost like if you were like to flick the brush and just drag a very thin line upward, because I wanted them to look very like diffused. I didn't want there to be any harsh lines, but you can kind of see it better than I can explain it. But I am just filling in all of the little U shapes, and the U shapes, they're kind of like a squoval, where they're kind of rounded but they're kind of square, but then they taper up or down depending again what set you're working on. So like I said, you can kind of see it better than I can explain it. Now I'm taking the Basic Red Chroma Cake by MAC again on a smaller, more detailed brush, and I am outlining and going in between every single tooth just to fill in the blank space and make sure that the background is all filled in, because we don't want our mouth to be white, we want it to be deep, dark, and scary. And I go in with the solid red at first, just because I will go in with black and kind of break up that stark red and deepen it up a little bit here in a minute. And now I'm going in with the black to help break up that red. There's no like precision to this. I'm just kind of randomly placing it so that way it looks as natural as possible. But just kind of going back over some of the teeth to help darken them up a little bit more. And I still saw some like white eyeliner, so I was going in and covering that. But again, there's really no rhyme or reason to the placement. It's just kind of random, like I said, to kind of help break up that red and just to make it look a little more spoopy. And now taking my foundation, this one is pretty pale. It's what I normally mix in with all my other foundations to kind of lighten them a little bit. And they're the NYX Total Control Drops in shade 3. And I am just applying that all over my face and on the edges of the scar wax just to help blend them a little bit more. And I use just a little stippling brush to do this, just so that way I can lay on the color, and then I'll go in with a more dense brush to fill in those areas that were a little bit harder to get with the bigger brush, and the denser brush is going to help pack in the product as well. Now taking the Ben Nye Dark Blood, and I am, again, my camera cut out whenever I filled in like my eyes and temples and some of my mouth, but I'm just honestly, again, just randomly placing this. Now the trick is to make sure that you're not putting blood all over your face. You don't want to put too much, You just want to kind of coat the edges and just a little bit on the inside, and that's what's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. So again, I'm just placing that blood in random areas, but keeping it very controlled. Like I said, you don't want to add too much, otherwise you lose the realness effect. Okay guys, so this is pretty much the finished look. I really hope you are a little more forgiving because I am not a special effects makeup artist. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.